gem and lock of the summer.
The PLO.
The hell is that?
The Premier Lacrosse League.
I came in with my ex like Selena, the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever and left, she know what she need, or she blessed, giving my best, yeah, I got my heart on my sleeve with a knife in my back, what's with that, 21, I love him, they're my brother, that's my stack, Metro made the beat, so you know that it's gon' slap, yeah, it's gon' slap, time, run it back, talking to a diva, yeah, she on my nerves, she think that I need her, kick her to the curb, all I know is you could've had the world, yeah, you were my world.
Got these girls on my neck, got these girls on my check, like Selena, baby, on my cheetah, baby, yeah. She thinking a Lambo for a drive, it's on the fence door, and she way out the store. I got my heart on my sleeve with the city on my back.
Here it's net profits time. Let's go. Newbie here, Rossi. Branny Locks making the triumphant return here, and we are pumped up. It's All-Star Game week, and we got plenty to get into here. Maybe also get you some potential future bets to get down on in the PLL, but 5 weeks in already. I can't believe we're halfway through the season. Jesus Lord, this season has flown past. And finally, I got my swag delivered. Look at how tough this hat goes. Water Dogs, little 90s print. That's pretty
I like it.
I'm still
Pretty
waiting.
nice.
Some of my merch is being sent, but I mean, haven't got it yet. But no rush. Like when it gets here, I'm wearing that every day. It's not coming off.
Yeah, but the problem is your merch is probably going to say Atlas, and something that we're going to talk about is going to be your breakup that's going on with the Atlas. But I think my favorite part about this hat is the purple PLL. Like that's pretty tough for the backwards hat wearers. Brenny, first things first, dude. It's good to see you, man. How you been? Number one, and number two, how's it been betting on the PL? You been making some coin?
I've been good. I'm happy to be back. I missed you guys and Net Profits and everybody else for a while now, but we're back on the straddle. All-Star Weekend, though, is going to slow us down a little. However, I'm right there with Rossi. At the start of the year, I was Team Atlas all the way. They were my future from the jump. But the good thing about the All-Star break is it's a time to reload, and I will definitely be reloading because the Atlas have let me down so far. That goal differential, when they post those standings every week on the PLL Instagram, is just like a blow to even look at.
Dude, and the problem is not only are they just like losing, like that goal differential, like they're getting the break speed on, like they're getting their asses kicked. And they're actually the only team in the PLL that hasn't covered a spread yet. Now, they're also a team who's been favored every single week. Only them and the Archers have been favorites, but the Atlas have not covered a spread yet. So, Rossi, is the breakup official? Is Atlas done? And you're like, damn, ship me that Water Dogs hat because, or are you in an Archer's gear? What do you think? Because it can't be good. It can't all be roses. There may be some trouble in paradise for you in the Atlas relationship.
I mean, they're at rock bottom, and when you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up. So I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to ride it out with them. I think, there's a reason why they're so hyped. They were so hyped going into the season. I mean, they've got a great roster, a great team. So I think they're going to sneak, obviously, their way into the playoffs. And I think, we're going to realize come playoff time why they were hyped. Okay. They're going to get back a little bit of their mojo, and we're going to see the Atlas that we needed to see all year come playoff time. So,
wow. I like not jumping off the bandwagon. I give you
not giving up.
I thought for sure she was going to be on like, no, they sold too many times. I'm done. Respect going down with the ship. That's how I know that you're a Philadelphia fan, because we've seen some true pain through the years with all of our sport team, but we don't jump off the ship. So as much as the carrot was dangled in front of her, it's not happening. She's sticking with the Atlas and also Go Birds as always. The crazy thing is though, again, and for what it's worth, to just kind of like bolster that point too, Rossi, is like only one team misses the playoffs. So do I think Atlas is going to be the one team that misses the playoff because 7 of the 8 teams make the playoffs? No, I think they can do enough to at least hop in front of the Chrome, maybe hop in front of the Whips. But even right before we went on here, Brenny and I were talking about, these young players. And it's something that we'll get into when we talk about the All-Star game because it's going to be veterans versus the rising stars, the young players. Being last place this year isn't going to be really that much of a bad thing because it means that you're going to get Brennan O'Neill. And Brenny, we were just talking about the impact that some of these rookies that can make. So while some people might look at that as like, who wants to climb out of the basement? You would also flip it the other way and be like, who's going to finish last and win the Brennan O'Neill lottery? Because you're setting yourself up for years and years to come, just selling the bag one season.
Absolutely. I mean, I think he's proved he defines generational talent when it comes to even any sport. We saw what he did in the World Games a couple weeks ago. One of the best players on Team USA, running around with pretty much half the guys on the veteran All-Star team. And he showed up when it mattered most, especially in that championship game. This is a guy that, I mean, you talk about tanking in other sports, and obviously the PLO is so small that I believe that the teams at the bottom of the leaderboard can still make a push because if you get hot at the right time, there's not that many teams that you're competing with. But unlike Gavin Adler being the first pick last year, he's actually played surprisingly well for how bad that the Atlas defense has been. Brendan O'Neill is just in a different galaxy of a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Like everyone said Sam Hanley was going to be the guy. He ended up slipping. I don't think there's any way that O'Neill ends up slipping down here a little bit. All right, guys, before we talk a little bit of All-Star, get into some maybe other talk, I want to talk about just the first 5 weeks of the season, and I want to pose a question. I'll start with you, Rossi. You already said I'm not bailing off the Atlas, but like if you had to make a bet today, you can either choose a team to miss the playoffs or a team to win the title. Who would you be picking? Like, is it as easy as just, hey, eat the chalk, play Archers? They're 4-1 right now. Or do you think someone else might be able to sneak from the back of the pack and win this title? Because Archers are looking like an absolute certified wagon right now.
That's that's the thing about the PLL. I mean, granted, it's not super short season, but compared to other leagues, I feel
10
like
weeks.
I feel like you can see, with the NFL, by the time it's Super Bowl or playoff time, they've been playing for, 17 weeks. So I feel like it's easier to have, some more consistency or not reliability, like, more. But that being said, I wouldn't hate the Archers. Jack's Cannons are looking really good. That could be an upset team, at least in my opinion. Not coming in last. I mean, like potentially.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, potentially competing for it. Atlas aren't coming in last. The Archers, I mean, I would also, just how well they've been playing, but at the same time, it's like at some point they're gonna drop and they're gonna fall. So it's like I don't like to go with the easy answer there.
Well, and the funny thing is a lot of folks, when they talk about the Archers, they talk about them like being like the frauds of the league because they're a team that's always prolific offensively. They're a team that's always killing it in the goal differential, and then playoffs roll around, and then some way, somehow they lose to a much worse team. So, again, like this is really your first time diving in, but really even historically, that's kind of what you've seen with the Archers is, oh yeah, we're in the driver's seat. And then, oh shit, we just absolutely fumbled the bag. So history is also with that. Brenny, I'm wondering for you, anybody emerging through 5 weeks is like, okay, this is the team to beat? Like, is it as easy as you just look at the standings, or is there like another team? Because I think you and I have to eat crow, dude. Like we have to admit we were wrong on the Cannons, because I don't think that that this is just like a flash in the pan. Like I think we haven't even seen the best of the Cannons yet, and for what it's worth, they've scored the most goals through 5 weeks, and I think that's going to continue in the second half of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree with you there. I think, their performance against the Chrome this weekend, they put on a show. It was a ball movement clinic for the Cannons, and I think they're a well-coached team. I think they play together, and very much unlike the Atlas, they're not all talent. The Atlas roster will blow you away. It blew me away before the season. I thought this team was very talented. I thought they'd overpower teams offensively and kind of just scrape by defensively. The Cannons are the opposite of that. They play together as a unit. They do both things well. They're very well coached. They're very tough as well. I don't think it's a fluke with them, But to your point, who is the top team in the PLL right now? Obviously, the Archers stand out in the standings. To me, I just don't see it really being that easy. When has a sports league ever had a dominant team through the first half where a lot of teams are underwhelming and that just one team that stays above the pack just cruises to go win it? It is not going to come that easy. There's a lot of 3-2 teams around 500. Like, I wouldn't rule out the Woods or the Chaos. I think those are two sleeper teams. Obviously, the Water Dogs with their offensive firepower at number 2 on the odds list. But those bottom 3 teams of the Snakes, the Chrome, of course, the Atlas, I mean, it looks really bad for all 3 of them right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And as far as like, trying to bet futures in the middle of the season, I'm not really a big time futures better. I try and, find a way to potentially find value in the future market. That's like a buzzword everyone talks about in sports betting. It's like, what's the value? What's the value?
Right.
I wouldn't bet any of them in just the outright market. I would find maybe a more like exotic way to get at it. And I think if you do think that the 2 teams who are sitting at the top are the top 2 teams, that's the Archers and the Water Dogs. They have this name the finalist on FanDuel. It's plus 950, where it could be the Archers and the Water Dogs to be in the title game. But honestly, I think a better way to use your money. So like, let's say you put $10 on that, your return would be $95, right? So like, bear with me here. They also have an exact outcome. You can bet Archers to defeat Water Dogs or Water Dogs to defeat Archers. And those are plus 1,800 and plus 1,900 respectively. So instead of just putting $10 on a 9.5 to 1, you could put $10 or split that up and put $5 on each of them or whatever your unit size is. And then your return would be 180 or 190. And then you take your $10 off if you lose the other bet. So I think if you do think that there's chalk to be eaten here, I wouldn't say Archers plus 400. I wouldn't say Water Dogs plus 450. I think if you're talking value, Archers to defeat Water Dogs to defeat Archers at 18 to 1, 19 to 1. I think those would be the better way. How about that big brain stuff right there, Brenny?
I love that. You're just sniping odd. I'm shocked that it's almost double the value though on the outright winners.
Yeah.
You just pick a team instead of the exact result. I will say this though. I've been off the show for a while. I've been really bad with my picks on TikTok, on SoBet. Just the PLL has let me down this year because the Atlas let me down first, and then I kind of thought that the Chrome would get hot, and they've done the exact opposite. So I haven't been good. So I'll say right now, as we head into the break, I think my sleeper that I will dabble in right now is the Chaos at plus 600. Ooh. I really like them. Just not like, I'm not going to go into depth and break down their team like I did the Atlas at the start. I just think that they're one of those teams that's just hanging around there, and no one really wants to talk about them because we have the really bad of the PLL at the bottom with those 3 teams with 1 win. And then obviously the Archers and Dogs standing out, like you said. It's always that team that kind of gets hot at the right time. And with their record, they're not going to get a bad playoff seed. They're going to get in. And I can see them making some noise.
I like that. A little sleep. Ross, you got any sleeper before we really degen out and talk about betting on an all-star game?
I mean, if you want to call it a sleeper, I'm going to go with the Cannons, a team that's not at the top, but somewhere that's kind of floating in the middle that can also
still
get hot.
6 to 1. They're 6 to 1.
Yep.
So same kind of deal. So you're getting 2 teams potentially at 6 and 1 on the championship outright market. And Brenny, you mentioned how like betting PLLs kicked your ass a little bit. That'll happen, man, especially if you're eating chalk with favorites, especially this year. So if you just look at money line, underdogs have won 10 games on the money line and favorites have won 10 games. So 10 and 10 completely split underdogs. So you're flipping a coin. And the way that I've always liked getting down is taking the points. Like if you just blindly took the points this entire year, underdogs against the spread are 13 and 7. So that's 65%. And that's not just, a one-time thing, because going back to 2021, underdogs are 71 and 37. So that's above 65%. So like, that's a blind trend that just like, give me points, like num. That's a way to stop kicking your ass, is just take points. 65% year over year, 3 straight years.
That 65%, that since 2021 stat and numbers are unbelievable.
Yeah.
I
71. It's like, dude, if you told any sports better, sign me up for a 65% trend, like they would just be like, let me hammer it with both hands. But then people are like,
Right.
what? You bet on lacrosse? What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, I can cash 65% of my tickets, not even knowing what the hell I'm doing. Like, that's what's wrong with me. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Someone in chat said, "Do you think it's such a flip because they're not really home field advantage?"
I'd say that
Rennie?
definitely has something to do with it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think the home cities will be really interesting to see how they perform as at a home in front of home crowds.
That's one thing though that I'm really interested to see moving forward is how does the home city affect it? Because the thing is from my understanding, they're still going to be basically doing like the travel-based model, but the team who will be playing in their home city that given weekend will have 2 games. So that honestly could be like a negative. You know what I mean? Like you're having to play back-to-back games in your home city, and maybe it'll change, but that's at least like what I've been reading and what I've been seeing. But I think for the person in the chat who reached out and asked that, I think there definitely is something to that. I also think it's the nature of lacrosse that it really is like, it's very much like basketball that every team is going to go on their run, and it's just who gets that run last. You know what I mean? Like who's able to put their stamp on the game and put it out. So I think it's just the parity that the sport lends itself into, and then baked in, all the teams have the travel factor. So you can't use that as you know, oh, well, who has to travel, who gets to be home. And I don't know if that's going to change much until they truly go to like a city-based model. That's a good question and something to definitely look forward to. But that's my thoughts, unless you guys have anything else.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it'll be weird because the fans of their home city is going to have to travel with the team.
Yeah.
But also from just a marketing perspective, I think the PLL travel schedule is awesome.
It's beautiful.
It just lets you.
It becomes an event.
Absolutely, and it's kind of like, it's almost like a golf tournament. How they go somewhere new every week, different environment, obviously depending on where you are, East Coast primarily with the PLL. But it'll be weird. It'll be interesting to see some of these cities that get assigned teams based on the voting.
All right, guys. Well, we don't even have like an actual slate of games this weekend, and we're already rapidly approaching talking for half an hour. So let's talk a little all-star game here and then get the folks the hell out of here. It's veterans versus rising stars, which I think is a really cool way that they're going to be doing it. It's the old heads versus the young bucks. If you're actually looking, you can bet on this game. So I guess more from a macro perspective, am I that big of a degenerate that I'm like, I need to find a way to bet on the PLL All-Star game? Or is like, do you guys bet any other All-Star games? Or is it just like, what the hell? Like, I maybe bet the home run derby. Like, do I have a problem is basically, is this going to turn into an intervention, or is it not that crazy to bet All-Star games?
I would say, I'd say it's fine to bet every All-Star game outside of the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is just atrocious.
Sickening.
Yeah.
It's sickening.
Yep. Like you said earlier, the PLL, if you're making, money on 65% of bets or whatnot, or, who cares? Run up the All-Star game. And, judging from experience I was a college athlete, but when we had the alumni games with the veterans versus us young kids, always go with the young kids. I mean, they might not be as good, but they can run faster, and that's all you need. So
yeah, and the hangovers, the hangovers probably not hitting as tough too at the alumni games. So so that's definitely fair. It's worth a look. It's definitely worth a look. So honestly, if we had to pick, so they do have money lines up. I'm hoping that they end up putting a total, because I'm always the fucking stick in the mud that's always like, well, everyone's betting the over. I wait for it to get as high as possible, and then I bet the under every All-Star game. I'm sick like that. I truly, that's where my problem really lies, is that I'm a fun-hating individual that always wants to bet unders. Because the way that I look at it is every game that has ever been played is under until it's not. That's my betting axiom.
Also, haven't I heard the quote that's like, if you bet under, you don't like sports? Like, it's so lame. Like,
that's fair. And I
for the game not to do good, if you think about it.
I want the game to suck. I'm a defensive guy by nature, so I want the defenses to do well. So yes, I hate sports. I hate myself. I bet unders. I'm a card-carrying member of the I Hate Myself Society. All right, so if you look at it though, what's up, Brenny?
I was just laughing at that. I'm definitely a
Sick of
card
it.
carrier of the unders club, though. I like unders.
It's a sick puppy club to be in. That's why I have a Water Dogs hat, because I'm a sick fucking pup. All right, let's talk veterans, rising stars, money line right now. Veterans are the favorite. They didn't hear the handicapping expertise of Rossi saying the veterans are older. So veterans are minus 115, rising stars 105. It sounds like all three of us are on the rising stars. I think they get it done. Do you guys agree?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, if you look All-Star game, you got to think who's going to bring the most energy, because some people kind of dog it in an All-Star game. And if there's anyone that's going to bring energy, it's going to be the young guys, right? And obviously, Mikey Sowers is the captain. Is there any better guy than that? He's a walking human highlight just on his own. He doesn't even have to show out for the All-Star game. Mac O'Keefe last week with like 7 points. We'll see his shooting ability with the young guys. I think it has to be the young guys, but the people who know better than all of us and everybody watching is the odds makers. And if there's a sharp play in an all-star game, it'd probably be the veterans, because everyone's going to take the young guys.
Yeah, it's fair, but I just look at like both the rosters are just stupid. Like, so you can go to premierlacrosseleague.com/all-star to see what the rosters are. All I know is I don't know if I can bet the under in this game. Jesus Christ. There's going to be so much scoring when I just look at these two rosters. Yeah, I just have to. In an all-star game, it's like a true coin flip. I'm not going to lay minus 120 or minus 115. Give me the rising stars, 105 all day long. I hope more people bet the veterans and we even get like an even money. Let's do that. So we're all going to do it. We're all going to go down with the ship. It went so well when we all picked Atlas last week, Rossi. So we're all picking the rising stars. So I guess get your money in on the veterans now is what that sounds like. The whole Net Profits crew is going one way. It hasn't gone well for us this year. But this is the week it changes. We got Brenny with us. It's going to change.
Back on track. Tunnel vision.
Yeah, back on track. All right, that's going to do it for another edition here of Net Profits. We love being with you. We love breaking this down for you. Make sure you follow SoBet across all the socials that have been going across the bottom here. Make sure you follow Brenny, follow Rossi, and always check out their stuff on TikTok. It's been a pleasure. I'm your host, Newbie, and we will see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Newbie. We'll see you. See you, Ross.